3 reasons why I support Vernon Jones.
So wait. Did y'all hear that? This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. Now, inflation is a thing of the past, right? But last month, inflation in the US had the highest rise in 29 years. So with rising food and gas costs, it's an urgent problem if you're thinking about retiring soon. You need an inflation dam in order to stop your savings and assets from eroding in value. NobleGo's expertise in retirement planning and IRAs means their team of specialists is your first stop. Call them about this month's offer of a 1-ounce American Eagle pure silver proof coin with an IRA at 877-646-5347. That is 877-646-5347. Now, let's get back to this video. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And if you're a conservative or you follow my channel by now, you know and heard of who Vernon Jones is. He's the former black Democrat from Georgia who came out early talking about he supports Donald Trump. And of course, he was met with mass resistance. Oh yeah, they tried to throw him under the bus. And for a second, he had withdrew from, I guess, campaigning and trying to run again. But he decided to say, forget that mess. See, what ended up happening, they did to him what they do to most conservatives, whether you're black or otherwise. They try to destroy you. And now, if you don't meet the stereotypical liberal ideology or stereotype, meaning if you're a person of color, if you're gay, if you whatever, and you don't come out mad for nothing, oh, they got to destroy you. If you're that person that other folks that's mad for nothing just might listen to because you have other things in common with them besides being gay, besides being black, besides being a woman, and yet you don't think like that. You don't sit back and say, because I'm a woman, I need to be mad at all men. You don't say, because I'm black, I should be mad at all police and all white folks. If you don't think like that, they don't want you rubbing off on all those other black folks. So they had to do what they had to do to go after Vernon Jones. Which brings me to number 1. Vernon Jones, when he came back and decided I'm going to run, he came out swinging. He was not allowing them to get on TV and bully him, shame him, and muscle him into getting back on that Democrat platform. In other words, plantation. And he did his thing, yo. I love the way he hit him with some smash mouth football right in their chops. I got a couple examples. But before we do that, we better check out his new advertisement to run for the governor of Georgia, which I'm very excited about. It made me almost want to move to Georgia for a second just to vote. Just to vote for Vernon Jones. That is it. So let's check out what he's talking about in this ad. Here we go.
In 2020, I witnessed firsthand Brian Kemp abandon the president, cost us 2 U.S. Senate seats and the Oval Office. He chose to sit on the sideline.
I supported the president. A lot of people, I think, question that.
Is he booed or not when he shows up? That reception will go a long way into determining just how nervous he might need to be when it comes to a potential primary challenger.
A round of boos when Governor Kemp took the stage.
And while Brian Kemp was sitting on the sidelines, I was on the front lines, rallying support for the president, crisscrossing the country to do so, and fighting for the integrity of our elections. I did this even before I was a Republican. But 2020 for me wasn't about my party, it was about my country. It's always been that way for me. From when I endorsed the Republican nominee for president in 2004, until when I call out the radicalism of the Democratic Party today. A party more focused on dividing than uniting.
Tearing up the president's speech.
Destroying than creating. As Ronald Reagan once said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party left me.
Now, right off grip, I'm able to appreciate the fact that this dude is speaking my language. He's able to recognize the stupidity and the craziness and the radicalism coming out of the Democrats right about now. For some reason, black folks who don't agree with more of their drastic liberal policies, they're blinded by stuff that really isn't a problem, but they paint it to be such a problem that a lot of minorities forget about all the other stuff that the Democrats push in their policies, that once they're implemented, black folks will be scratching their head going, when did this happen and why did this happen and who made it happen? The same people that you voted for. Vernon Jones seems to be aware of that. He seems to know that, whoa, some of this crap that these folks are talking about is so drastic and far out there. I don't know why it took him this long to become a conservative. Most black folks are conservative in their social thinking. When it comes down to their kids and it comes down to some of the normal life that we experience versus these radical ideas that the liberals are pushing and the Democrat Party supports, but yet that one issue blindsides us all. Racism. And that is why the Democrats and the liberal media uses that constantly. But for some reason, Vernon Jones is able to see through that. Now, in his ad, he's hitting us with all of the stuff that rational, not even necessarily conservative folks think. Let's finish hearing this ad, y'all.
While I haven't always been a lifelong Republican, I've always been a lifelong conservative. I've been a fighter to end illegal immigration. I've been a fighter to fund the police, not defund them. And I will always fight for Georgia's values. Now I'm looking to take those values to the state capitol. Conservatives are tired of politicians that talk like Ron DeSantis, but govern like Mitt Romney. I'm Vernon Jones, and I'm running for governor of Georgia. As your governor, I'll fight to secure our election, protect our local communities, and rebuild Georgia's economy. And most importantly, I will never give an inch to the radical left.
Ooh-wee! Now he really talking my language, especially bringing up that raggedy dude, Mitt Romney, that rhino, Romney the rhino, and giving all of this extra room to the left, to the progressive left. Now, see, here's the biggest problem. Most Republicans don't have a backbone or spine. Here's my first reason. I love him because he has a spine. He knew that when he came out in his support for Donald Trump, he was going to be viciously attacked, which we're about to see in a second. Who's the first line of attack they always send out against other black conservatives? Black folks. And we're about to find out exactly what he did when they tried that mess. We knew it was coming. Now, he could have easily folded, but he didn't. This dude could have easily remained a quiet Democrat, got back in office, never came out and verbally confronted his beliefs and support for the president. He could have took the easy route, but he didn't. So I admire his courage. Number one, let's finish this real quick though.
Gone are those days when women's sports are under attack and there would be zero tolerance for critical race theory taught in Georgia's schools. The days ahead would not be easy. The left, they are fighting to control our state. They will fight me with everything they've got to turn Georgia completely blue. But I'm up for the fight, and I know you are too. Look, Georgians, I'm one of you. I've got God in my heart. I've got farming in my blood. I have military in my family. I have small businesses on my mind. And just in case you didn't know, I'm a black Republican. I am pro-Second Amendment. I am pro-life. And I will work with anyone who's willing to put Georgia first. Join our movement today. Go to jonesforgeorgia.com and together we'll make Georgia first once again. We'd rather change this country for the better than to fold to the fake outrage, the Twitter mob, and the cancel culture of the left. We really are the majority. We just been asleep. Gotta wake up. I'm Vernon Jones, and I approve this message.
And I'm Kevin from Kevin's Corner, and I approve that message. This man in that speech right there made me have to put my Patriot man hat on. I didn't want to do it, but I had to. As I listened to this man address some topics, some issues and values that a whole bunch of Americans have. God in their heart. Nobody wants to be dealing with this cancel culture every 5 seconds. Nobody wants their kids to be subjective to being taught how to be more either racially sensitive and insecure, or being blamed for the history of racism. Nobody wants that mess. Nobody wants to be looking at the streets rioting and tearing up businesses and all of that. Nobody wants that mess. And it appears the Democrats use this on a daily basis. And Vernon Jones just happened to be smart enough to know that that's crazy. It's a recipe for failure. And if you got a good message, a lot of minority folks will stop and say, even though I've been taught and brainwashed that all Republicans are evil, white, and racist, what he's talking about, the substance of what he's saying and addressing appeals to me, regardless of his political affiliation. Common sense should trump all of that. So let's continue seeing why Kev supports Vernon Jones, who's all the way down in Georgia, which is making me almost want to move there. But let's continue. Oh, wait, what's this? Oh, number 2, his ability to punch all of these race-baiting folks that all of these white establishments that they work for, as they're so pro-black, sends them out there to keep people like Vernon Jones in check. So let's see what he does to this guy from MSNBC.
A paid campaign surrogate? Are you being compensated?
Let me be clear. You get paid to shape a liberal narrative. You get paid to attack this president. I don't get a dime for this president. I don't get a dime from the campaign. Everything I've done is been me and based on my principles. And see, that's the problem. When an African American that's elected official,
I did not raise your
race. Let me finish now. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Whoa. You're not going to imply that I asked that question because you're black.
So don't ask me that. You only ask me that because I don't fit your narrative. This president never offered anything. I don't want anything from this president. It's what I can do for my country. And you need to accept that many other African Americans and others support this president because of his policies. And to insult me to say, am I getting paid?
That dude right now, somebody is in Craig's ear. Going, Craig, it didn't go according to plan, man. Pull up. We in trouble. Change the subject, something. He's on to us. He realized that you are that secret mole that we planted in our organization to keep folks like him in check. So Craig suggests that the only reason Vernon Jones is changing his position and support for President Trump is because he's getting paid. Now, as strange as it may sound, many black folks, when I first came out and started talking about politics and supporting Trump, they questioned me. They wanted to know, was I getting paid by Trump? And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? How much money would they have to pay Kev to sell out? I'm not a Don Lemon. I'm not a Joy Reid. I'm not this dude right here. You can't pay me enough to sell out. I can't be passionate about something I truly don't believe in my heart. You would see through it. But they are willing to prostitute themselves and be fake enough to try to pretend that they're serious about their support of these whack, crazy policies and their outrage over racism and all of that stuff as they secretly plot and scheme to undermine black conservatives, where they drop subtle hints in here that white commentators can't drop. Suggesting that he's a sellout or Uncle Tom or he's shucking and jiving. They can't have a white person come out and make those hidden suggestions. So they send out this black dude. They use him. And now he's trying to play dumb like, Now, as he's getting punched in the mouth, he's going, I didn't expect Vernon to start swinging on me like that. He came out all gentle and polite, and now he's punching me all in my face and I don't know what to do but act confused. Like now all of a sudden, this man's attacking me for no reason. Even though I just asked him, are you a paid campaign person? So now, we all know human behavior. It is to take the path of least resistance. But he chose to come out and support Trump, and knowing that that is the path of most resistance. And yet Craig here, for some reason, thinks for no reason, he decided to go down that path. Because what? He's getting paid? Unreal. Now, for all of those that wonder, black conservatives are highly intelligent and reasonable. We come to these conclusions not ill-advised, not ill-informed, none of that. We know. We expect the outrage, the attacks, the reaction to us when we decide to do that, because we understand the black community. We know being a black conservative is not popular in the black community. Now, why would we do that if we were not convinced? If we didn't have conviction in our heart based on these policies, if we weren't able to see how the Democrats have truly molested, raped, and robbed the black community for decades, if we couldn't see all of that, why would we do this for nothing? Do you think that we're doing this just for farts and giggles? Do you think Kev gets more popularity in the black community, more clout, more respect? You think all those black ladies who thought Kev was sexy and hot before he became a conservative and dropped all these videos, but now all of a sudden, girl, that's a shame. That's a waste of a good black man. I'd rather date a pimp. I'd rather date a drug dealer, a rapper who's talking about my body in a very suggestive way. I'd rather do all of that than to date a black man that's a conservative. You think that all of this is worth that? I mean, heck, I could have easily just rode the wave. I could have just swam downstream with the rest of the salmon. I could have jumped right in that sheepfold and just followed the rest of the bah, but I chose not to. Of a financial benefit, but because of conviction. Before my YouTube channel grew, I wasn't doing this. I didn't even know you could get money off of YouTube. That wasn't my goal and objective. I was in it from the start based on my convictions. And that is why I appreciate Vernon Jones. He could have took the easy route, but he didn't. And then he anticipated the reaction from black folks like this, and he's not taking it. And I appreciate this beating he's about to lay on Craig.
I've asked the same question. I've asked the same question
and that's
of Democrats who come on.
MSNBC and their narrative to keep blacks silent who happen to support this president. Why can't I be like white liberals or other whites? Nobody questioned they're getting paid. So I have to get paid. Do you ask Democrats? Do they get paid?
I just said if you're
paid by Joe Biden.
I just said to you.
Have you ever asked any host that they've been paid by Joe Biden?
State Representative Vernon Jones. Representative Jones.
You hear Craig trying to pump the brake? Senator, look, I know you're exposing the fact that I'm a paid operative and I'm the real sellout. I asked the same question for someone in that ear saying, Craig, get out. You're coming in too fast. Pull up. And now this dude's trying to pump the brakes and calm Vernon down, but he done let the monkey out the bag. He done let that beast out that cage. And he's getting it, man. That dude is catching it from every end. You hear me? I just, as if Craig really does that when he brings on other propagandists from liberal networks or liberal commentators or Democrats. He don't be asking them that. Folks, surrogates for the Democrat Party, I've never seen one liberal network say, are you a paid operative? Are you a paid campaign supporter? Never asked a black Democrat supporter that came on that show if they're being paid by the campaign. Maybe if they work for the campaign, there's no need to ask. But there's been plenty of them who came on that had no affiliation with the campaign. They just support Democrat policies. And Craig has never asked that. If you find the clip, please send it to me, because Vernon calls him out. Oh, but you know what, though? That ain't it. That ain't just it. Because, see, I also appreciate Vernon Jones currently. Now, because of what he did to CNN, Now, let me set the stage for this beatdown. Vernon Jones is down in Georgia, and Rudy Giuliani pops in to support him. Okay, running for governor. He wants to get Kemp out of it because Kemp is a rhino. So while he's doing that, CNN decides to jump in and try to go after Giuliani. Vernon Jones decides we're not going to take it. And he steps in and calls this new, I guess this dude right here look like it might have been like his first day. I bet you he's like at all the days. Vernon Jones puts me on the spot. Put me right in that fishbowl and exposes what CNN is really about. And boy, is this precious. Let's check this out.
Would have appointed them anyway. They'd have been shunned to New York. Do you have any idea what happens if you support Donald Trump in a left-wing place? You lose your job. You have your children threatened. You have to move. I expected that decision. It's intellectually dishonest. They say I lied. They don't look at the affidavits I offered to them that shows I'm telling the truth. It's part of the cover, and it's part of the problem we have when we have a one-party place like New York. It's the reason we have so much crime. The crime is Cuomo's crime and de Blasio's crime. They run the state. They run the state like a dictatorship.
I want to step in for a second.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the.
I want you to ask the Attorney General Garland. I want you to ask him, why is it that he wants to come to Georgia and investigate Georgia's so-called Jim Crow laws, but he won't investigate or even ask for a forensic audit in the 159 counties in Georgia? He won't even look at Stacey's law, how it was used in our elections versus state law. Now that's a fact, and that's an undisputed violation of the Constitution. I'll ask you, was the drop-off boxes used in 2020 elections? Was it? Was it used in the 2020 election?
Crickets! Why isn't this CNN operative responding to that question? See, he thought he can go in on Rudy Giuliani because he's a white man who worked with President Trump. Now, this man didn't come down there for no answers. He came down there for disruption. He came down there to try to undermine, to try to go back to CNN with a negative narrative, all of that stuff, try to bring in all this other stuff about Rudy's involvement and he's a conspiracy theorist and all of that mess. But Vernon Jones decided, you know what, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to ask you some questions and put you on the spot. Now the interview has changed. Now this young snotty-nosed CNN dude who probably, like I said, first day on the job, is now getting interviewed by Vernon Jones and probably looking at him like, don't do this to me, Vernon. You're going to get me fired. I just started like a week ago. But let's see where this goes. Now, before we go any further, this is a public, I guess, video clip that Vernon Jones is discussing concerning some things that took place a while back in November. Now, I'm not confirming these things to be true or not. I'm simply reporting on this video clip that Vernon Jones chose to say as a potential candidate for the Georgia governorship. Okay, even though I agree with her. But let's continue. Here we go.
Now, be as bold as you were bold to ask Rudy Giuliani a question. I'm asking you now, were the drop-off boxes used? Let's put the camera on him. Let's put the camera on him. I'm going to stand. Now, was the drop-off boxes used? Now bring the camera around. What press are you with? I'm with CNN. He's with CNN. Were the drop-off boxes that were used in our election? This gentleman's with CNN. He's with CNN. What's your name? Sayers. This is Mr. Sayers.
Y'all see Mr. Sayers? Oh, Mr. Sayers is like, oh, shoot, what have I got myself into? And I love this. Vernon Jones said, now turn the camera around. I want everyone to know who this is, who you are, who your network is. No more hiding behind those cameras. No more anonymous sources. No more, we're going to write the report and fix it up the way we want to. Right about now, this dude is the report. He's the one that got to answer some questions. Let's see how he handles himself, y'all.
Were the drop-off boxes used in the 2020 election and the 2021 runoff? Were those drop-off boxes written into state statute?
I do not know, sir.
Are you open to looking to see if it worked?
Sir, I just asked a question.
No, I'm just asking you a question. So was it used? No, you've asked me a question already. Was it? Are you going to look into it?
May I ask you?
I just want to see. Here's CNN.
Before Vernon drops that hammer on this dude, you see this little Pop-Tart. Sir, I don't know. I just asked questions. I'm just here to ask. No, you don't. CNN is not there to just ask the questions. No, they're not trying to get to the truth or the bottom of things. You know why? Because in their so-called question asking, they always mix in a whole bunch of narratives and thoughts, predisposition views, suggestions, all of that stuff. They don't ask questions. They make statements and lie about them and pretend that these statements are being done in the form of just questions. But it leaves the viewer thinking about the statement that was made leading up to the so-called question. But now Vernon Jones turns the camera on him and he's about to say exactly what CNN is about. Because I'm curious to know. I thought they were upstanding news. That's what I thought, but Vernon Jones has a different take. Let's see.
Because CNN is about controlling Negroes. That's what it's saying. Controlling Negroes. That's what CNN is about. They don't want people of color to have conservative thoughts. He's here to keep me running and keep me from being the governor of the state. Why? Because the liberals, they do not want blacks thinking for themselves. They're here for Stacey Abrams. You know and I know that the drop-off boxes were not in the state statute. You know and I know that the ANET signature verification was not in the statute, right? We both know that. Now, I want you to look in that camera. Are you going to investigate that?
So there are many people in our
organization. I want you to look in this camera right here. Are you going to investigate that?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
See, this is the fake news from CNN. All they want to do is control their liberal narrative. And that's it. That's a prime example of it. So, you all have never had me on your show before. Because you know Joe Biden is a bigot, and you don't want me on there calling Joe Biden a bigot. Joe Biden said that black people are disproportionately affected by COVID because they don't know how to go on the internet. Joe Biden just said that black people, businesses or entrepreneurs, they're bad entrepreneurs or they're not good entrepreneurs or successful entrepreneurs because they don't have lawyers and they don't have accountants. Well, I have a lawyer and accountant, and just so happen they're black. I didn't have it because they're black, they're the best. So Joe Biden is a bigot. You know it, and I know it. But CNN wants to put people on there that carry their narrative. CNN is bigoted, CNN is race-based, and they're racist, and they use you to carry out their racist agenda. And it's sad. Georgia's too big for that. We don't want racism in Georgia. We don't want that stuff. We want to get along, families. But CNN, your building was terrorized by Black Lives Matter. But you didn't want to talk about it. You didn't want to talk about it. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter attacked your building downtown Atlanta, didn't it? And Antifa, right?
There was also Trump supporters who sent mail packages to me and my
Okay, but who bombed, or who attacked and broke windows at CNN during the riots? Was it Black Lives Matter and Antifa? Was it or was it not?
I do not know.
You do not know. I'm shocked that you don't know. You're CNN.
Guys, that was beautiful. What Vernon Jones did to this raggedy network, every black person in America and others need to hear that. He told the 100% truth. He called their raggedy tails out, and this dude tried to play ignorant. You knew all about that stuff that allegedly people for supported Trump sent packages and stuff. Stuff that y'all have not tracked down, ain't went and found. Here's Yeoman Johnson at this address. He's the one that sent this hate mail or this package or whatever. Yeah, but for some reason, though, all of that video footage of those people from Antifa and Black Lives Matter was not enough evidence. This guy right here, we don't know who they were. Really? So y'all is just content with just wondering about who was these people who decided to break our windows and come in here and threaten us? We don't need to know the details. So if they were not Black Lives Matter and they were not Antifa, what were they, Jen? Just random people that just decided for some reason today's a great day to posse up and go and break down CNN's windows and start throwing smoke bombs and little fire in the basement and all that stuff just for no reason. No reason. Now, that man right there is belittling our intelligence, but Vernon Jones have just contributed to it. Contributed to us and our intelligence. And unfortunately, that video will probably be suppressed all over the place. But not here in Kevin's Corner. It is exalted and elevated. Oh, Vernon. And that is why I support V. Jones for governor of Georgia. Man, Georgia, I might be on my way. Hold on. Georgia, sweet Georgia. I might have to come with the Ray Charles. Georgia on my mind. God bless y'all. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share this video. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and on Rumble. Links are all in the bottom of this video. Click on Extreme Tees. If you like their products, put Kevin in the promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. Want to donate to Kevin's Corner? There's links below to do that. All those who watch my live show and be given in my super chat, I appreciate that too. Man, we got to hit like. We got to share these videos. YouTube has told me that there's all kind of reasons why my channel is not growing and my subscribers are not being notified. They say only 25% of the people who subscribe to me have their notifications set to all notifications. And you got to make sure also they're saying that your buttons in your phone settings got to be notifications. I'm thinking, why do we have to go through all this now? We were doing fine, but now all these steps that I guess are as, contributing to the sudden stunt of my growth. We were doing great without having to tell everybody to go through 50 steps to make sure this and this and that. But now all of a sudden, everything stops and you're telling me it's because of these newly found steps that people got to go through? Interesting. Anyway, it is what it is. God bless y'all. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.